Assalamu alaikum, everybody. I hope you guys are having a blessed Friday. So I'm here again with another online lecture, that is 17, and the subject is geography and grade 6. And we are currently studying chapter 3, that is Earth as a home to human beings. And we are studying a topic, human environment relationship. Like in other videos, we have talked about different things related to human environment relationship, like human and environment both affect each other in many ways. So first we studied the impacts of human on environment under the banner of a human environment relationship, where there were different factors where like how humans impact our environment, like deforestation, overpopulation, pollution. And then we learned about different kinds of pollution, that is air pollution, land pollution, and water pollution. So I think you guys are fully aware of the stuff, like how humans impacts of humans on our environment, and how do humans affect our environment. Now here is the turn to learn about the impacts of environment on humans. So girls and guys, I want you all to have your books opened, and let's study about it. And it's 26th of June 2020, and it's Blessed Friday. First, let me tell you what is an environment. So, the surroundings or conditions in which a person, an animal, or plant lives or operates. The natural world as a whole, or in a particular geographical area, especially as affected by human activity. This is called an environment. Or you can say that an environment is the surrounding in which we live. Let's talk about abiotic components of environment and the biotic components of environment. Abiotic components mean the non-living things. So the abiotic components of environment would be non-living things like soil, water, air, climate, etc. And the biotic means the living things, or the biotic components of environment include living things like plants and animals. So here you can see in this slide, again let me tell you, abiotic factor are parts of the environment that affect living organisms and ecosystem while not being alive themselves. Like you can see that abiotic factors are water, sunlight, rocks, oxygen, air, temperature, space, salinity, pH, climate, nitrogen, nutrients, soil, and shelter. These all factors affect humans and humans' behavior. For example, you can see the sunlight. Sunlight helps us to see the things, or to feel warmth, right? So it can also affect your mood and your behavior to do certain things. So now here comes the biotic factors, and which are living parts of the environment, as I told you before, that affect other organisms, and these include plants, animals, fungi, etc. Here you can say that these things affect greatly to the living things, and these are the living factors. I'm repeating certain terms just to make you understand clearly, right? So let's talk about some environmental factors that are affecting humans or humans' behavior in different ways. So first, climate is the weather conditions prevailing in area. So climate change and can have a range of impacts on physical, mental, and community health. A warmer climate is expected to increase the risk of illness and death from extreme heat and poor air quality. So girls and guys, we are living in poor country, third world country, and Pakistan is facing a lot of problems, especially in summers, because the people who are living in the impoverished or poor areas, they lack facilities. So because of the climate change or the extreme weather conditions, they face extreme heat, and some of them die just because of heat and the severe weather conditions, especially in summer. And climate change will likely increase the frequency and the strength of extreme events such as floods, droughts, and storms that threaten human health and safety. Climate changes may expose more people to diseases, and some groups of people, example the very young and the very old, are especially vulnerable to human impacts. Girls and guys, you witness, like in summers we used to wear light clothes, right, in order to save ourselves or protect ourselves from the scorching burning heat rays, and in winters we used to wear warm clothes in order to protect ourselves from cold, right? And in summers we are not feel like to do certain activities, like we prefer to stay at home and not going outside, because it affects our mood as well, because we are not feeling like that much energetic because of the weather conditions outside. And in winters the is the same case, like because of the cold outside, we prefer to stay at home, and we prefer to work at according to the situation of the environment outside, right? So to tell you these things all, because these things affect our mood as well, affect our behavior, affect our activities. So these are environmental factors like climate, temperature. I hope you understand it now. The impacts of climate change include warming temperatures, changes in precipitation, increases in the frequency or intensity of some extreme weather events, and rising sea levels. These impacts threaten our health by affecting the food we eat, the water we drink, the air we breathe, and the weather we experience. So, the severity of these health risks will depend on the ability of public health and safety systems to address or prepare for these changing threats, as well as factors such as an individual's behavior, age, gender, and economic status. So impacts will vary based on like where a person lives, how sensitive they are to health threats, how much they're exposed to climate change impacts, and how well they and their community are able to adapt to change. Again, in the poor areas they lack facilities, so in order to cope with the extreme weather conditions, they are unable to cope with such kind of situations. On opposite, the people who are wealthy, they can have a lot of substitutions for the weather severity, right? So it depends on the situation or the lifestyle of the people as well. So climate is also having to do with air quality. Like changes in the climate affect the air we breathe both indoors and outdoors. Warmer temperatures and shifting weather patterns can worsen the air quality, which can lead to asthma. Which can lead to asthma attacks and other respiratory and cardiovascular health effects. Wildfires, which are expected to continue to increase in number and severity as the climate changes, create smoke and other unhealthy air pollutants. Rising carbon dioxide levels and warmer temperatures can also affect airborne allergens such as ragweed pollen. So let me tell you temperature related impacts. Exposure to extreme heat can lead to heat stroke and dehydration, as well as cardiovascular, I told you before, respiratory diseases. This can lead to health issues. We right now we are suffering from heat, right? It's summer now. How hot it is, right? So it's all about this. You can witness it. Excessive heat is more likely to affect populations in northern latitudes where people are less prepared to cope with excessive temperatures. Certain types of populations are more vulnerable than others. For example, outdoor workers, student athletes, and homeless people tend to be more exposed to extreme heat because they spend more time outdoors, right? So, low income households and other adults may lack access to air conditioning, which also increases exposure to extreme heat. And climate impacts can also affect exposure to waterborne pathogens, for example, bacteria, viruses, and parasites, etc. And toxins produced by harmful algal and cyanobacterial blooms in the water. Water can contain viruses, bacteria, and parasites, and chemicals that end up in water from human activities. And for example, if we drink such kind of water, can we stay healthy? Even can we stay alive? Of course not. A big question mark. So climate is also having to do with air quality. Like changes in the climate affect the air we breathe both indoors and outdoors. Warmer temperatures and shifting weather patterns can worsen the air quality, which can lead to asthma. Which can lead to asthma attacks and other respiratory and cardiovascular health effects. Wildfires, which are expected to continue to increase in number and severity as the climate changes, create smoke and other unhealthy air pollutants. Rising carbon dioxide levels and warmer temperatures can also affect airborne allergens such as ragweed pollen. Any changes in a person's physical health or surrounding environment can also have serious impacts on their mental health. In particular, experiencing an extreme weather event can cause stress and other mental health consequences. So, individuals with mental illness are especially vulnerable to extreme heat. Studies have found that having a pre existing mental illness triple the risk of death during heat waves. People taking medication for mental illness that makes it difficult to regulate their body temperatures are particularly at risk. So, cousin guys, that's all about today's lecture. Today, I told you some environmental effects on humans' behavior. I told you some of the factors, but I want you all to have a search and find out more factors, more environmental factors, and make an assignment on write down some environmental factors affecting human behavior. Till then, till our next video, I want you all to take great care of yourself and drink plenty of clean water and stay hydrated. Take great care of yourself. Allah Hafiz.